Consent.
All right.
Okay, call to order. Roll call.
We have to do a motion for unanimous consent.
I'll do that first, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to call for motion to conduct business by voice vote unless roll call is required by bylaw, state, or requested by the board member.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, carry. All right, roll call. Ms. Kindlesberger.
Here.
Oh. Dr. Grant? Grant?
Here.
Roberta's place. Roberta's not on the committee, right? I'm just going by the last.
No.
She is, but she's just not here
Oh,
today.
she, okay. She is. I apologize. Roberta, not present. Mr. Sunderak
Here.
and Mr. Gannell.
Yes.
Anybody I'm missing? All right, first the approval of the minutes.
Moved. Second.
Next is committee business. So there were two appointed topics for us to discuss. One was around confirming the committee purpose and scope, and that really feeds into the idea of future committee topics, and that relates to purpose of this committee as a whole and frequency for meetings. So maybe that's three. But I guess open it to the floor, because I have not participated in this committee as long as some other members. Do we feel the purpose and scope of this committee exist in your mind, and are we serving it?
I think it works to serve the members of the health department that need things from us, or approval.
Excellent. Do you have any comments or concerns about that, or questions, or do you think that it needs to change in any way?
There's at least one meeting necessary annually because there's environmental health codes that we definitely need to do. I think other meetings ad hoc, should things pop up, unless there's something on a routine basis you'd like to hear about from any of our divisions.
I agree with that, only because we do have to do that one meeting to approve those environmental. However, we get a lot, I mean, Dr. Zalewski does give us a pretty robust report in the board meeting, to the whole board. So I don't know, unless something comes up, and we may have to have a meeting then, I don't know that we need to have other continued meetings throughout the year.
If you guys say we need to have a meeting, we have a meeting.
How do you feel about that?
So an ad hoc person.
Yeah, ad hoc, except for the one meeting, and that's usually what? Oh, no, I was gonna say November-ish. November.
And that's what we briefly talked, and then I had asked him about clarity from a governance standpoint. So the current rules are that you meet 4 times a year if you have a subcommittee. So that'll require changing those rules. Because if we want to do it once a year in ad hoc or twice a year, we less frequently we currently do it, it doesn't fit in our rules.
Is there another, and I know we talked about this last time and it was a little bit shot down, but is there another committee, and Jeff, I'm gonna look to you because you've been here a while too, and you're on the governance committee. Is there another committee that we think would be appropriate to approve those environmental? Because I don't think we can, because I don't know that we're allowed to do one per year in ad hoc, correct?
Yeah, so this question came up like a few minutes before we started, so I've been searching for the bylaws.
Jeff,
trying
you're
to
not
read
ready
all
for
of
this?
that, and Dan's reading it too, and it really just says, the schedule of standing committees shall be approved annually by a majority of the quorum of the board at a regularly scheduled meeting published. So this, I think I misspoke. Some of these committees meet every quarter, but there isn't a quarterly requirement, but I told you there was. Because I just did it off the top of my head, and most of the things I'm on are every quarter. but I don't think there's a requirement of that. Generally, like, I don't know if there is a place to do this, and maybe this is like a task for governance, because we're looking at issues related to, can we consolidate some of these committees and where would we put them? Because you have like nursing and all of that here.
Everybody.
Yes, but it's all here.
Family health, yeah.
Yes, everything under the same umbrella, but I don't know if you're not required to do this every quarter. Do you see it any differently, Dan? I'm reading the minutes.
So,
We just have to publish that at the beginning of the year, and if you determine that this is when you need to meet, then you meet then, and then if you need more meetings, you can call one.
this says, standing committees shall meet a minimum of twice a calendar year, occurring every 6 months and additionally as needed, and shall make their recommendations to the board.
So not four,
So twice.
two.
And it can be canceled if it.
Yeah, it
If we
still
don't-
could be
if we don't
canceled.
have an agenda.
Unnecessary.
So is that too much? Do you not think that's necessary, or what do you, like, how does it serve you with the committee part? Because some of this pops up through them. You have to do
Yeah.
some of that review.
I think really it's environmental is the only thing that ever pops up that has been.
Okay,
If there's,
I haven't really thought about it until this moment, so like I haven't, but,
if there's something that needs to go through, maybe as a policy, something that has to do with infectious disease, something that has to do with, environmental, this would be the chamber to bring it up, formulate some sort of a policy recommendation, and then bring to the board as it relates to health. We have more physicians, more medical people that are on this committee, more so than the other committees.
don't your fees go through here too? So that's probably the most important thing. I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I've never been on this committee, but it's fees.
Environmental uses for traditionally is, to review our fees so that they can make a recommendation. The committee generally makes a recommendation, to the board to approve the fees. And then the second thing is every year we do code updates, roughly every year. But generally, I use the committee, I'll email everything out to them and tell them to give me feedback on the code changes. I have gotten helpful feedback from staff on those.
So when do you think those things really occur? Like
The code
traditionally?
changes,
Well, fee changes are probably at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, November. Okay, so you should probably have a meeting in November. Do you need the code changes then, or are the code changes some other?
those come up like kind of, but I usually try to do a week of them.
So why don't you just schedule a meeting in November that's probably traditionally gonna be a meeting? And then maybe the changes would occur before the season, if that makes sense, right? Because the season would be spring and summer, right? For most of those code
Yeah, I mean,
changes.
What your idea about having the 2 meetings and what could be canceled if needed, that was fine. Right.
Yeah, so do spring and fall.
Yeah,
essentially.
How about from a clinical health standpoint?
Really, we haven't brought anything recently to the committee. It's been quite a few years. Wouldn't you agree, Erica?
Family health?
Yeah, we haven't brought anything either. For the most part, if we bring anything, it's to the full board contract.
the other
Or,
part,
and that's just for policy or something for.
the other function is not an annual thing, but it's for accreditation of the health district. And that's something, every 5 years that we up for accreditation. So this committee deals with the accreditation process. So that year, probably when there's more activity, or should be. I'm not sure that it really happened the last time.
So let's talk about what we used to be. Personnel and finance was one committee, thought of as having too much stuff. Does that make sense? Like too much stuff over its jurisdiction. And then we had environmental and nursing. So we had 3 committees. So we sorted this out to say financial operations, human resources that did kind of the health commissioner stuff and the hiring stuff and the review stuff independently. So those 2 committees. And then we made, human resources, financial operations, community wellness, which was nursing and environmental, and then we just left a governance committee. So it really didn't change much, and then we did this strategic plan thing, which is the idea that all the chairs could sit together and try to figure out, is there something for everybody to sort out? So it kind of was always under those buckets. You actually have 2 of those committees under your bucket, but if you don't need to meet, you know, schedule 2 at the beginning of the year, and you'll traditionally kind of cancel everything unless you guys have some change. Because it normally goes through this structure. And if you guys really don't submit stuff, that's okay, but you could always email stuff out that's coming before the board or whatever.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. This year, it's not gonna make a difference because we have to have the fall meeting. But moving forward, we can cancel the summer meeting and have one in the spring. Any other input?
Because the answer was that we cannot dissolve this committee, there's not another committee that
Well,
would
we
pick
could,
up.
well, but there's nowhere to put it,
Right,
Dr. Blakeslee.
I just want to say it
don't
out
know
loud, because I didn't hear the answer to that.
The answer is, I don't know where to put it. So traditionally, we've had nursing in one bucket, environmental in a bucket, and we had personnel and finance, which was pretty much everything else. So we made human resources one thing.
Split those.
We made finance a different one. We made an overall strategic plan thing, which hasn't been very active, really. We have the governance stuff to figure this out. If you guys, like, the argument before was we had too much under one bucket, so we split it up. But now they're saying, like, do we need all this? So maybe we just need less meetings of those committees. Does that make sense? And I think there's this overall conversation in governance about what can we do to make this easier? But I do think, like, there's some benefit to having a bucket that holds environmental and nursing together, just in case there's something. Because normally then, if it does come to the full board, maybe that's helpful, that the committee said, yeah, this is a good idea. I don't know, maybe we created too much. What do you think?
I think it was well intended. And just to clarify also, cannot be versus can be, dissolved, changed. These are in policies, features. They're not our basic backbone or foundational bylaws. So anything that's in that PNP can be altered as the board would determine. But I think that it's a useful place for us to discuss, have these discussions of how to proceed, what we want. When accreditation comes up, maybe having some discussions about where we need to put our efforts. A lot of the things that happen with the board, though, are pursuant to what we hear from Health Commissioner and from the staff. And in the past, I think a lot of, maybe all of the committee meetings were entirely staff-led, staff determined, and we were just informed. And there wasn't as much buy-in and participation from the board members. If we're going to have a board committee, it made sense to us to have more leadership from the board side. So that was the thinking behind these different buckets that we call committees, was to determine our own future, our own day-to-day, and have more input as chair and then vice chair, and bring things to the board so the whole board didn't have to do all the legwork. That was the background thinking. So is it right, is it wrong? That's for the rest of you to determine.
I have a suggestion. Why don't we circulate among all the committees when you think you have to have a meeting? Like,
Yeah,
one at
that's
a
what I
time.
was.
So
that's
you
what I
guys are
was just gonna
November,
say.
that's gonna always be your meeting?
October.
October. So, yeah, because it needs to have the lead for November. So let's make yours October, and then let's pick 6 months before the October one for the other kind of meeting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna work on this, Chris and I are gonna work on this.
And find
look
those.
at this and find when do committees have to meet. So, because I do think if I'm looking at this, everything is compressed into the fall. and there's not much business in the spring. So let's look at this and we can come back to all committees. But we've established that this committee needs to meet likely twice per year, especially in October, to be ready for November vote, right? Right? Any other,
I think those three topics were consolidated.
I know.
Any other business, new business? Okay, motion adjourned.
Good job. Less meetings.
All right, we're gonna move on to strategic planning. Does anyone need a break? We
We'll have
move on.
to, we'll have to transition over.
Oh, that's right.
I just know when.
Hang up.
I'm gonna get